Is Dodge's plan to sell an all-electric muscle car crazy or brilliant? Hey, it's Tim. Let's talk cars. In this case, let's talk about the new Dodge muscle car that's coming out. And it's interesting. The press release went live yesterday, and the details are out. So Dodge is going to bring out a Charger that's going to be offered in two-door or four-door. No Challenger. That's what they're just going to call it Charger. They're going to offer a electric powertrain plus two gasoline engine powertrains, and I've actually driven both those powertrains. But the big news here is the world's first and only electric muscle car, and it's fascinating because a bunch of my media colleagues at different outlets are only reporting on the gas engines. So Dodge leads off the world's first only electric muscle car. The media is ignoring that, but I think that's wrong. Let's talk about the electrified muscle car. So they're going to offer this all electric, all new 2024 Dodge Charger. I keep saying Challenger in my head. Dodge Charger Daytona Scat Pack. Okay. So let's look at this photos here. This is the 2024 Dodge Charger. And I mean, it does look pretty cool. It's got a heritage vibe to it. Reminds me of the old NASCAR cars back in the day when they first kind of came out. It's cool. It looks good. Lots of cool, as you'd expect, lots of cool little details from Dodge, right? The cool brakes, the cool setup for that. The Bumblebee or the Scat Pack, excuse me, the Scat Pack looking thing, call it Bumblebee myself. A lot of cool colors. I'm actually pretty excited to look at this thing in person and to see what they're doing. Inside looks great. I think it's interesting. It's got a new pistol grip shifter for, I guess, the gasoline versions. I'm not sure. I guess you could use an electrified too. But yeah, so interesting place. I guess you could use electrified. There's different ways to do shifting with electrified vehicles. All electric Dodge Charger driven by the 400-volt propulsion system. This is basically it. They're going to put that in for the top end version of this, the world's only electric muscle car, maybe only for a reason. They're going to do this. It's going to have better performance than the outgoing Hemi engines, even the 6.4 liter V8. So it's going to have the 6.4. Yeah, it's going to have the supercharged performance in this vehicle that you get from that supercharged V8. Okay, so interesting stuff. It's going to have two other engines. The 550 horsepower six-pack high output. It's 420 horsepower Charger six-pack standard output. So is the same engine, the 3.0 liter twin turbo Hurricane engine. It's an inline six. It's got two turbos. The turbos feed three cylinders at a time. The 550 horsepower version is on premium fuel only, while the 3 liter twin Hurricane recommends premium fuel for most performance, but you can run standard gasoline, probably standard gasoline in both of them, 87.89. The Charger Scat Pack, this is the one that's going to do 0-60 in 3 seconds, pretty darn fast, and run a quarter mile, an estimated 11.5 seconds. It's going to be offered with a new exhaust, which is basically sound in the cabin, fake engine noise. Charger Hellcat Red Eye levels performance. The six-pack models will give the Brotherhood of Muscle a gas option. Okay. It provides better horsepower and torque numbers than the outgoing 5.7 and 6.4 liter Hemi. Sure, it does. I've driven them. It's quick. The next generation of Dodge muscle car has arrived. I'm just hesitant. I just don't know. I mean, the reason they're doing this is part of their Dare Forward plan, 2030 strategic plan, to cut the global carbon footprint by 50%. Well, easy to do if you sell less cars. So looking at this, the platform's 400 volts. You're going to have different installed capacity with 100.5 kilowatt hour installed capacity of the battery pack. That's a pretty big battery pack. This thing is 5,800 pounds. It's heavy, but electric. It's going to move quick, right? So there's still some questions about how heavy it is, which has been a conversation with different safety groups and different organizations out there about damage to roads, additional road tax, because again, you're driving basically that'd be a little bit heavier than most full-size trucks. You're going to be able to add some direct connection stage upgrade kits to add more horsepower. Okay, that's just a programming thing. Unless there's something more I'm missing here, you're just going to charge people for additional programming inside the vehicle, because there is no tweaking. There's no adjusting the engine. There's no tuning. It's software. What's also interesting to me is they're going to have a variety of things: brakes by wire, different seals and tires, different suspension. But the drive modes are interesting. So they're going to offer different drive modes in this, which I find fascinating. You're going to have a donut mode. This enables you donuts, but push a button because you have all-wheel drive now, which you can't do donuts with. But aha, there's a mode for this: drift mode, line lock mode, launch control mode, which they've had in the past, race prep mode, performance pages, like they've had in the past, and then there's a body structure mode. Or excuse me, not body structure, but kind of highlight. Achieves near perfect weight distribution between two axles. Well, yeah, it's an EV. I mean, that's what they do. But I just find that donut mode and is so interesting, and these other modes are interesting because that's video game stuff. That's not something that you know people normally do, and you're taking away the driver here because you did the all-wheel drive, you did the electrified powertrain. So the far as a driver, doing a launch by themselves or like doing donuts because they want to have some fun, they have to press a mode to be able to do it, which just seems weird to me. This whole thing feels weird to me. I do like the exterior. I like the interior. I like what they're doing here. I think it's a cool looking, like I said, cool looking car. I'm sure the interior is going to be fantastic. They've always done a great job in the interior. You have a driver experience recorder, one button press experience. You have different drive modes, like I said. 20-inch tires, massive 16-inch Brembo bended rotors, red six piston, four front and four piston rear fixed calipers. So, I mean, you got the cool things that Dodge has done over the years, but these powertrains are going to be the biggest question. And I think it's interesting. Nobody's really, they don't really talk about them. They talk about the horsepower numbers, and then they go right into all these different features and how right to the EV. And it's interesting. And my friend David Boyd over at All Train Nation pointed out, if you look at the media, my colleagues at Car and Driver and Road and Track and that kind of stuff, nobody's really talking about electrified version of this. They're going straight into the gas versions, which I think is where the audience is. I don't know that many muscle car guys are going, "Oh, I can't wait to not hear my exhaust." That seems a little weird to me. And what's interesting is I happen to pull this book out. So this is 100 years of Dodge. I was at this event several years ago, and we drove a variety of vehicles. What's interesting is that the book has muscle car there and muscle cars there, right? But they are all discontinued. The Challenger is dead. These Chargers are dead. They're going to make a new Charger, but they're going to have not the V8s in these, not the cool sounding exhaust. And that's all dead. And what's interesting is I have a list here of vehicles we drove that day, right? And Dodge Chargers with the Hemis, with the Challenger Super Bs, all the way down to Vipers and Charger and Challenger SRTs. Some cool vehicles that had some great exhaust note right through here, and new one doesn't have it. So the question is going to be, and it's going to come down to, is does exhaust note matter? I think it does. I will tell you that I've driven the high output in that engine, the Hurricane, in the Ram truck and in the Wagoneer, or excuse me, the Ram Wagoneer. It's quick. It's good performance, as you'd expect. It's smooth. It's inherently balanced. It sounds like crap. There's nothing there, and the small displacement engine, you can't do anything with the exhaust note. The standard output, I'm going to buy that this next year for my truck channel in a Ram 1500, and it's going to be good performance, but it's not going to have any sort of visceral feel to it. And I just worry about Dodge here, that the brand is based on visceral feel and hearing. You go to these events. They have, like in Woodward, they have in Michigan, they have a Dodge Days there. Can't remember, Mopar or something or other. It's all about the tires and the smoke and the sounds and the exhaust. And I don't know if this is going to work. I know that's where they're heading, and that's where they need to head because they killed off their cars. They don't sell very many hybrids, and they don't do a lot of electrified anywhere else in their lineup. So they have to do this. But it seems like they're going down the same road that other brands have gone down, like, say, for example, Ford. When Ford put the 3.5 twin turbo V6 in the Raptor, and saw many fans who actually bought that truck, they sold it, went back to the old truck with a V8 in it. The same thing happened with the Raptor R. Now has a V8. So I understand where companies like Stellantis needs to go for the carbon emissions, but they need to verify or spread out their lineup here and offer a variety of customers. In my opinion, I don't see a lot of customers for this. But again, I'm skeptical. I've driven a lot of EVs. They do the job, but I just not seeing it. Let me know. Are they? Is it crazy? Is it brilliant? Comments down below. I just want to talk about this a little more because I'm a bit confused. I've been doing this over a decade, and I'm still confused by Dodge's approach here. Again, many different ways to get 50% less carbon emissions. Don't have to go all EV to do it. And Hurricane is a cool engine, but I don't know. This doesn't feel right to me in this application. Again, comment down below. Also check out the videos over here and make sure you follow along. This will be cool. Good time on this channel. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.